Did you end up living on a property at all, or you just rented it out all together?
That's a great question. So the whole time, I was house hacking.
Okay.
Yeah. So I house hacked, plus I did a rent by the room. Ooh. So my cash flow, instead of only having like $500 to $1,000, I was cash flowing $3,000 a month on top of my W-2.
Have you ever had an idea that was so clear it was like a 3D movie? Have you ever told a friend about the idea and they told you, wow, if you could only make that into a business, you would be rich? Sound familiar? Welcome to Knowledge to Currency. I'm your host, Senator Porter, with my co-host, Roosevelt Williams III, and we're here to help you take action. This is free information. We only ask one thing: build a strong foundation and mindset. We have insight to help you get started. Most of us just need a push. What's happening? What's happening? Welcome to another episode of Knowledge to Currency, where knowledge is power and currency is king. I'm your host, Senator Porter, and you are?
Roosevelt Williams III.
And we have Josh Villareal here today. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show. It's a big episode. We're on the road to 50, so
Ooh.
I believe we're at 48 at this moment.
Let's go.
So let's go.
Let's go.
It's funny because I followed you on social media, and I didn't know you were in California. And then my friend Henish, he has these meetups, and freaking walk past you. I'm like, yo, Josh, what's up? And then you're like, what's happening? We started talking, and we had a lot of friends, like similar friends, Dre, obviously Henish, few different people that we know. And I've asked you to be on the show. You accepted graciously, so we appreciate that. And what we kind of do on this show is we want to focus on trying to help people level up. So if you have a 9-to-5, I'm not telling people to go quit their 9-to-5, because that to me is your first investor. But in the night hours, instead of like doing Netflix and like trying to escape life, you should maybe try to work on something to level yourself up. And just following you on your journey, we like to hear about your journey and your businesses and kind of how you started that.
Yeah. So how I started my journey, it was on accident, actually.
Okay.
So some of you guys might know that I was in the military. I joined the military at 17 because my family was in a not so good situation that I had to be the breadwinner.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So at 17, I had to be a big boy.
Okay.
So, yeah, I joined the military, and I soon found out that $1,200 a month was not enough for only me in San Diego, but not for my family.
Right.
I was just looking for a paycheck every 1st and 15th, and that's what I got.
Okay.
So I asked myself, okay, how can I build an extra stream of income that could supply me and provide for my family a lot better?
Okay.
So I went out and I did the hustler style. So I went on OfferUp, bought and sold iPhones. That led me to e-commerce, and then finally digital marketing.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I try to level up a little bit as I went into the ladder of entrepreneurship, and it all came down to marketing from the beginning of my journey. Okay. So I started from there, and that was in 2017.
Okay.
So in 2017, I started there, and I did super great my first year. It was super good. So I made a whopping $4,000.
In a month or a year?
In a year.
Okay. All right.
wait, I'm not done yet. With a $5,000 investment, so a negative $1,000.
No.
It gets better to plot that.
Yeah, so that is the real side of business.
Sure.
There's a lot of people underestimate how hard business is.
True.
And a lot of people are missing is the knowledge, which I really love your podcast name, Knowledge to Currency.
Right.
So I found that knowledge, and I worked on it every day while having a W-2, or I was active Navy, so I was really on my time management skills. So every time I had some extra time, it was basically 4 hours or 3 hours a day. I would just work on my craft,
Okay.
which is digital marketing, trying to get clients. I learned sales, operations during that time, and then about 2 to 3 years later, it became a 6-figure business. I had a 6-figure income on the side.
So from negative money to positive money, out the red to the black.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So then, so now you'd be like 2021.
So 2020.
Okay.
So so there's a theme, right? So the theme is it starts great or not so good, great, and then not so great again because in 2022 or 2020, COVID happened.
Right. Exactly.
So most of my clients were in the auto body industry,
Okay.
and I lost all of them overnight because there was no one driving on the streets.
Sure.
So I had some overhead, and I had to close down business, unfortunately.
Sure.
And luckily, I still had my W-2, which is my Navy,
Right.
and I saw real estate as a vehicle. And on my entrepreneurship journey, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, all the stuff on
Real
where,
estate.
yeah, on real
the
estate.
Quadrant.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Being an investor quadrant. I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, did you own a house at that time?
No.
Okay. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So in May of 2020, that was one of the worst times for transactions. Everyone was scared.
Right.
So that means deals
yeah.
were there
Right.
because everyone was scared.
Right.
So I knew a little bit about what I was doing through podcasts, YouTube. I had no mentor at the time. I just dove deep into the free knowledge,
Sure.
and I got 2 single-family homes on one lot out here in El Cajon.
Wow.
Yeah, for $800,000, which is unheard of right now. You can't do
no
that
way
no more.
you can do that now.
Yeah. So I ended up rehabbing both the houses and building a ADU,
Mm-hmm.
a third unit, and the 800 with $40,000 worth of the money that I had left over. It's worth like 1.55 right now.
That's a win. Congrats. Congrats.
Thank
Did you end up living on the property at all, or you just rented it out all together?
That's a great question. So the whole time I was house hacking.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I house hacked, plus I did a rent by the room. So my
Ooh.
cash flow, instead of only having like $500 to $1,000, I was cash flowing $3,000 a month on top of my W-2.
Yeah, so a lot of people only look at rental property as renting out the whole house, but what he's talking about is renting out each individual room for a specific price, and then that can triple the actual profits that you would make, right?
Exactly.
Wow, that's awesome. And you got to live in San Diego for free.
100%.
That's right. Congratulations on that move.
Thank you.
So then now you had this big win after a loss. So what was the next step?
So I found that real estate might be the way instead of digital marketing.
Okay.
So I wanted to get deeper into how can I acquire deals. So I saw wholesaling was this new shiny thing
Right.
in real estate.
Sure.
So I got into that, opened a wholesale business. I did a cash out refi with the triplex now that I own.
Yeah.
And I cashed out like $300,000 tax free, and I put it into my wholesaling business.
So then how many employees did you have for that?
It was only myself and then 2 other people.
Okay, so you're running lean.
You're running super lean. Yeah, because it's kind of hard to run a business when you don't know what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. So
Yeah.
now are we a year into COVID?
Yeah, like a year into COVID. So that was in early 2021 or so. I started the wholesaling business. We ended up doing like 16 deals in our first 18 months.
Whoa,
It's not too bad.
that's awesome.
And then we got into the fixing and flipping. And then finally we're at the multifamily and development stage. We're building up a 49-unit apartment in North Park right now.
Man, that's big. So
You said 49 unit, 49?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, congratulations! That's
Gary?
awesome, man.
Thank you.
So then, what made you want to get into multifamily over a single family?
Multifamily. A lot of things.
Okay.
So we were just doing the numbers as a team. We're like, okay, how much money in profit? How many deals do we need to do to get $2 million?
Okay.
It was a lot. It was a lot because with the operations, it's way too much. I know there's a lot of flippers out there that do very well,
Right.
but me coming from a digital background where I build one product one time and I sell it multiple times,
Right.
that operation didn't make sense to what
you.
I'm used to.
Right.
So I wanted to find something where I do it once, but it's big. So
Okay.
the only way that I could have that type of scalability is long-term multifamily and development.
Okay.
So that's why I went that way.
So then, that's something that people want to do. So how'd you start learning about that? Did you go to YouTube University yet again, or did you get a mentor?
YouTube University,
Okay.
of course, and then just continuous networking.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the journey to getting to the multifamily and development side, I got into first it was the ADU. That was my first taste of development.
Right.
Building something from the ground up, kind of. It was a garage conversion, but
Right.
still,
Still building something.
yeah, still building something. And then I found out there was a bill that passed here in San Diego about bonus ADUs,
The
where
SB9.
SB9, and then San Diego has their own version where you could turn a single family home into 15, 20 units for bonus ADUs as long as you're in a TPA zone.
Right.
And then I was
Big.
looking at the numbers on that, and I was like, that's some pretty good numbers. The margins are like 40%.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't have to provide parking, right?
No parking.
Right.
Yeah. So the reason why that's a great point, because with parking, parking is one of the biggest expenses for developers, because in San Diego, one parking spot takes $75,000 to $100,000 to build. Just one parking spot underneath.
And then you wonder why at your apartment they won't give you a second parking with a 2-bedroom.
Exactly.
So then, you you had a question you want to ask?
Oh yes, I did have a few questions. I definitely wanted to ask. What are your thoughts of the future of real estate investing? What are your thoughts?
It's, in my opinion, of course, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm going to preface it with that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
From what I'm seeing is that we're still in a good trajectory, because if right now in San Diego, locally, I'm talking about San Diego,
Right.
locally, we're doing pretty well for high interest rates.
Right.
There's still bidding wars out there, even though it's 7% because of the shortage.
Right.
So here's a fact out there. So according to workforce.org, 41,000 new jobs were created in 2022, but only 5,000 units were built.
Right.
So multiply that into 5 to 10 years, there's a huge discrepancy.
Absolutely.
So just imagine the shortage that we have right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's high rises going downtown every day. I think there's 5 I can think of, and one of the units is like on the top floor, $17,000 a month, and both of the top units are rented out, and so it definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So the future is bright, because the only way, so 7%, it's very unlikely that it's going to go 8%. We haven't seen that in
a long time.
Long time.
Right.
So after the interest rates go down from the Fed, then there's only one way to go, which is down. So what's going to happen if we're back at at least 5%?
Right.
What kind of frenzy is going to happen?
Yeah, people going to be jumping on the train to purchase again. Demand will go up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question.
Do you see it as being a housing desert?
Can you rephrase that question?
Housing desert. Is there a lack of housing?
Oh yeah.
Do you see it,
Oh.
or do you see is there opportunity right now, like for families to buy? Is there space to live in?
Oh,
because
yeah.
you're out there in the market. Like, what do you see?
Yeah, there's definitely houses to buy, but there's definitely competition, so it's a little hard.
Yeah, for like to put it in context, there's like less than 2,500 available homes to buy in San Diego County, and there's over 2 million people.
Right.
And then there's new people coming in. Even if they say like everyone's leaving California, for everybody leaving California, there's people moving to California every day. So if you think of people coming from San Francisco, LA, all those very expensive places, San Diego to them is cheap. So even if it's like 15 million, they're like, oh yeah, but I have a yard, I have this, or even 2 million. They're like, well, at least I have a yard. I was paying that for a condo in San Fran. So it's like, I don't know, San Diego's such a unique place for real estate because of those reasons.
Yeah, definitely. Because I see things going vertical, not as like more horizontal, like you know.
yeah.
You know, so they're
for sure.
sky's the limit. Let's say that. But
I
no.
agree. I had a question. How do you manage your rental properties?
My rental properties, we have a team that manages it, and we use apartments.com.
Okay.
Yeah, apartments.com, it automates a lot of things for us. So it has the background checks, the credit checks. You could submit your W-2s in there.
Nice.
Maintenance, they could submit tickets over there.
Okay.
And it goes directly into your bank account.
Dang. And then they take a fee, I'm assuming?
So the cool part is this is absolutely free.
What?
Yeah.
So what is their benefit? They'll have your listing, I guess?
Their benefit is data.
Okay.
So if something is free, then you're the product.
Oh, that's...
There you go.
See, that digital marketing background.
That's another question I want to ask. What advice would you give someone that's just starting off in real estate investing?
Number one is get as much knowledge as possible, meet as much people. And then for me, what I should have done was found a mentor.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of mentorships out there. So for me, last year, I spent about $160,000 on testing and mentorship, coaching, all that stuff. So the thing that I personally found out was the group coaching is cool, which is what a lot of people have, which is great for networking. But for you to get to the next level, you need one-on-one coaching.
So that costs a lot more.
It does cost a lot more,
Mm-hmm.
but the benefit that you have is exponential.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you decide on who you want to pick for your mentor to pay for that type of coaching?
So one, how their lifestyle is right now is what you want your future to be like.
Okay.
So if this person has 5 businesses and you get mentorship from him, you're going the serial entrepreneurship route. It's a lot different than one business.
Right.
So if you want a lifestyle where it's completely automated, you don't want to be the front man doing social media or anything, follow that guy. So look at the end result, then find the person in front of it.
That's a good way to look at it.
Absolutely. Thinking with the end in mind. Finding a mentor, let them make their long journey your shortcut. I'm definitely a fond believer in having a mentor and having that direct one-on-one time. But if you want to get a lot, you probably got to pay a lot.
Yes.
Yep,
100%.
That's
What are some of the challenges that you currently face or have faced in the past when it comes to real estate investing?
Oh, that one's easy. That was just last year. And I'm still going through some right now. But the last quarter of 2022 for real estate investors was super hard.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, rates went up. No one was buying and selling because the interest rates were super low. Deals were hard to find, and money was hard to find.
Right.
So back then, back in 2022, we were doing as much as we can to get through that time. So we all went to meetups, events, tried to shake as many hands that we can. But it was just exhausting, super exhausting. And I asked myself, there has to be another way. There has to be. So I went to my network and mentors and asked them, all right, how can I leverage my time better? How can I scale my business better? And they all said the same thing. Go on social media. Yeah. So the funny thing is everyone knows they need to be on social media, but something is always keeping them from doing it.
Sure.
It's fear, self-consciousness, whatever it is. So during that time, I bit the bullet and I was like, okay, I have a digital marketing background. I kind of understand social media pretty well. Let me do this. I'm going to post every single day until something happens. And then in December 1st, 2022, I posted, and 70 days later, I went from 1,000 to 100,000 followers.
Wow. You said in one day?
No. It's saying
In 70 days.
every day.
70 days. Okay,
Yeah,
got you.
posting
Got you.
every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's probably how I've stumbled upon your profile, because I was listening to what you were saying and it resonated with me, so I followed.
Great content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Addictive content. People to be able to share referrals. That's great.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's the key to creating great content? I mean, you have the knowledge. Turn that into some currency, if you see where I'm going.
Right.
But to get that addictive, consistent content, what would be a critical success factor?
So there's a saying out there that says success is irreducibly complex, which means if you do 9 out of the 10 things, you're not going to succeed. So it's actually a lot of things done right. But the biggest one that I see a lot of people don't pay attention to is the first 3 seconds of your video. It's the hook.
Right.
Because without the 3 seconds, they're not going to watch the rest of the video. So you just wasted all that time. So what I recommend everyone to do is put 80% of their time into the first 3 seconds.
Beautiful. Knowledge of currency.
As far as one of your businesses is Project 7 Studios, what's your plans in the future for that?
So Project 7 Studios is my production company. That came about on accident as well, because when I blew up, everyone wanted the same thing, the same system that I did.
Sure.
So there's the production side, and then now there's a coaching side to it.
Nice.
So that one is pretty new, and right now it is one-on-one.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So then when you say you blew up, what were some of the things that happened differently from before, as far as like engagement online, stuff like that? Because I know people probably messaged you a lot. So how do you handle all that stuff?
So yeah, my life flipped. I went from barely getting DMs to where I had to shut down my phone and change up the settings that my messages can't go through anymore. But how it changed, it's different, man. Every time I go to an event or a meetup, just last night, if you look at my story, people were taking pictures of me.
Right.
Like, I'm so humbled by that experience, but people that I don't even know, they're like, can I take a picture with you? And then now think about the credibility when I walk into a room, the relationships, and most importantly, the deals.
Right.
So
it builds your brand up. Now, instead of you looking for deals, they start to come to you.
Exactly.
You're an attraction.
Yeah. 70 days. 70 days.
Is this where we get the number 7 from? In Project 7 Studios?
That was actually on accident. So Project 7, the 7 is for, it takes 7 times for a person to, what is it? It takes a person 7 times to see your brand, to recognize your brand.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard of that. It said 7-11, like you said, the 7, and then it takes 11 hours for someone to interact with you with a trust to do business with you. So
100%.
some people say, oh, well, I spoke to this person 3-4 times, but that's not even 11 hours. That might be 2 minutes.
Exactly.
And they're like, all right, buy this car, buy this house. And they don't even know you, so they don't know if they want to do business with you yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's dope. So you came up with the name yourself?
No, my sister and my brother did.
Okay.
So my sister's actually my COO for that company.
Okay.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
So how many businesses do you have total? Because you're basically a serial entrepreneur yourself.
Yeah, I got a little distracted, but not really. So I potentially, I own 3 businesses. So
Okay.
one is the real estate side. We have flipping, wholesaling, and the development. But now it's really just multifamily development.
Okay.
We have Project 7, which goes into 2. It's production and coaching.
Okay.
And then the third one that I don't really talk about is I own a brick and mortar business in Orange County called Sweet G's.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a co-owner for that one.
What is type of company is that?
It's a dessert company. So we sell
nice.
cookies, milkshakes, and all that stuff.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
And that's like a little sneaky one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, what's what's in the future as we kind of where could we find you? Where could we follow you at? And how's the future looking? What are some of your future plans?
Yeah. Future plans is to dial down. So on your entrepreneur journey, you're gonna get a lot of distractions.
Sure.
And what I found out is if you just work on one thing, your life will change a lot faster. So right now, I'm gonna focus a lot on the social media side because I already saw what 6 months look like for me. What's gonna happen if I do that for 6 years straight now?
To really lock in. And then, so you're seeing the shift like I am. I feel like branding is like so important right now, more than it's ever been for on a personal level. Like most of the time, we saw like Nike, Apple, BMW. Those were the brands that everybody sought after. But now, more people are saying, "Hey, I want my own brand to be on those levels." Are you seeing that as well?
100%. So I just came from a real estate conference where Brandon Turner had a keynote.
Okay.
And he has over $1 billion assets under management. And he told us how his company's equity is structured. So he's 50%. And then he has one partner that finds the deals. The other one's the operator.
Okay.
And he literally told us because of social media, he works like 4 hours a week.
Wow.
Because all he does is get on podcasts and create content.
Mm.
And that's how powerful it is. He owns 50% of $1 billion business because of content and branding.
Yeah, that's kind of, so I went to Forward in Vegas, and Ed Millett was up there, and they had other different speakers, but he spoke really quickly because he had to go to another event. So he said that he wouldn't charge more than $100,000. But he did 2 events that same day. So in less than 4 hours, he made $200,000. And that's just speaking for, 30 to 45 minutes.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's a whole nother way to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking is the fastest way to make money.
I agree. I mean, just think about that, $100,000. And there's
wow.
Gary Vee, he came to the event the year prior, and I think he made $295. And he spoke for an hour, and he's like, I'm really coming here to get the content. He goes, but if they're going to pay me to speak, I'll take it too. So then he goes, my media team chops all this up, and then I can go back and show you where I said these things as my proof, or his receipts, as he says.
Absolutely.
So people are getting paid $200,000-300,000 to speak for an hour?
For an hour.
All right, so if anyone's out there that wants me to speak at their event, let me
excited.
know. DM me the word.
Yeah, call to action. No, Roosevelt gets paid to speak, so absolutely.
That's awesome.
It's something that I learned. Well, I've seen it. I didn't know how much people were making, but I definitely see that the more events I go to, I'm like, they paid the guy how much?
Yeah.
And they tell the same story, and they go somewhere else and tell the same story, and it's their real life, but it's a story. We all have a story,
And it just exponentially compounds because it's
Right.
just their branding on top of branding on top of branding.
Yeah, absolutely, and I see you going there. That's why I was able to identify the 7 with the 70 days, like Roosevelt with the rose.
Oh,
You know, but as I'm learning too from knowledge of currency, it's not about what you see, but it's how you make people feel.
Oh yeah.
And by sitting here with you, I definitely feel you've been approachable, relatable. So I'm just excited for your future. Like you said, what you did in the next 6 months, next 6 years. So we sitting at the table around billionaires. Mindset, beautiful, well said. Not as a currency.
knowledge is currency.
Before we let you go, do you have any announcements or anything else you want to tell the audience?
No. You can just follow me on my socials.
Okay.
So I own Josh Villareal on all platforms. So just hit me up on there.
Okay. And if somebody wanted to like JV a deal with you, they could do it through that platform, like reach out to you that way?
Yes, of course.
Okay. You got any final words before we close out?
I'm excited, and I'm gonna stay tuned. I'm a follower, and so it's my pleasure to actually meet you. You're a very approachable, good-spirited person, and I'm happy to see that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Means a lot.
Yeah, Josh, thank you so much for being on this episode of Knowledge of Currency, and in straight fashion, just chill till the next episode, in the words of Dr. Dre.
All right.
It's a wrap.